All right, time for a 49ers roster reset following the trade deadline. Back in a studio setting, San Francisco practice today. We can take a look at Christian McCaffrey back out on that field, Jawan Jennings back out on that field, both in more extended opportunities today versus what we saw on Monday when it was just a bonus practice and there was a very quick viewing window. Today was an actual full practice for the 49ers as they get ready for this game against Tampa Bay. And you know who else was out on that field? He's up on your screen. That's the article on the San Francisco Standard. That is Khalil Davis, obviously still wearing his old Houston Texans uniform. San Francisco has now traded for 3 Houston defensive linemen over the course of the past, let's say, 4 seasons at this point. 2021 is already 4 seasons ago. Charles Omenihu in 2021. That was a very productive trade for the 49ers. Malik Collins in the offseason here before this current season, 2024. He's starting for San Francisco now and playing really well. And then this most recent one, Khalil Davis. That's 3 linemen from Houston. 2 of them were very productive players, or in the case of Malik Collins, we could say in the present tense is still a very productive player for the 49ers. And we'll see how Khalil Davis does for this football team. But Kyle Shanahan talked about it today, and I wrote about this on the San Francisco Standard. He noted that trading a 7th-round pick in the 2026 draft for Khalil Davis wasn't a huge risk. This is a quote from Shanahan. But we do feel like we helped our team with the things that we did do. So, first off, there was the trade for Khalil Davis, and the 49ers have added rotational depth along the defensive line, especially there in the middle. I got to meet Khalil today in the locker room. He said that he's not 315 pounds anymore, that he's cut some weight, so he's actually going to be playing at a more explosive weight, which means that he's back to the 4.75 40 for sure that he ran coming out of college at Nebraska. So they've added an explosive player to the middle of their defense in a depth fashion. I showed this in the airport live yesterday. Now we can show it in a more formal studio setting. This is the relative athletic score for Khalil Davis. Could put this up on the screen for you in a bigger fashion. And we stretch it out across the whole thing. There you go. Red is bad. Green is good. As you can tell, the elite composite speed grade on the right is very, very impressive. 4.75 40, 2.75 20, and a 1.66 10-yard split for Khalil Davis. Then he's got a good explosion score because of a 32.5-inch vertical and the 95 broad. So that's elite. That's elite. What's not elite is the size. It's compact. 6'1", 308 pounds. He came out, it was 315 at one point early in his tenure with the Texans. But as I said, he's downsized a bit since then. So it's 308 pounds for Khalil Davis. But that said, the bench press doesn't seem all too correlated with his size. 32 reps on the bench, really good. So compact speed, and maybe I should change the title to say compact speed and strength, because he's got those 2 things. He playing about 19, 20 snaps a game for the Houston Texans. And Mike shared some tape with me right now that I'm going to play for you, that you're going to be able to really recognize the compact speed and strength on this pass rush. Watch Khalil Davis in the middle of the screen. He wins quite a bit as we watch here. That's against the run. Nice explosive tackle. Makes himself skinny, even though he's a defensive tackle, to get in between the guard and the center. Made himself skinny and was explosive there. That's a very nice quarterback pressure. 94, Khalil Davis. There's that burst. There's that speed. There's a sack of Baker Mayfield, who the 49ers play this weekend in Tampa Bay. There he is, terrorizing the Titans in the AFC South. Again, I'm going to go back to the top of this. The arrow points down to Khalil Davis. You can see him split the two offensive linemen with nice burst, nice explosion for the run stop. He's stout in the middle. This comes from a coach who's worked with Khalil Davis, and the metrics that we've been watching, and this is the last clip I'll show you. That's some speed right there. He's stout in the middle, but he's also got some of that athleticism, a lot of it that the 49ers do indeed like. You know, everybody's going to say, well, DJ Jones was quick. I don't think that Khalil Davis is quite as big as DJ Jones. Again, there's a reason why he wasn't drafted until the 6th round, while he's struggled to make a real name for himself at the NFL level since joining the league in 2020. And I think it's the arms aren't as long as you would like them to be. 31 and a half inches. You see they're measured over here. But the height and weight is not typical fire hydrant size, but he's got a lot of other stuff that the 49ers will like in that wide 9. Anyway, Kyle Shanahan spoke about the 49ers trade strategy today. And this is no secret, but it's worth checking out the article on the Standard. Noted that the 49ers treat the trade deadline the same every single year. We don't just make a huge move just because we want to. If we think it's something that can help and not hurt for the future, you've got to weigh those risks every year. And a few good things that popped up that we thought were worth the risks in past years, we just didn't see anything this year. He didn't consider this Khalil Davis move to be a massive risk because it wasn't. In fact, the 49ers, with this Khalil Davis move, did not even have to touch their assortment of 2025 draft capital. This is what they're projected to have. 10 or 11 picks. Now, it's going to be determined by the compensatory formula. So these are just projections. Chase Young, they traded for him last year. Then he left for $13 million. That could net the 49ers a 4th-round pick. Cleveland Farrell, that was a good developmental job from San Francisco. Left after last season. That could net them a 7th-round pick. Ray McLeod came as a free agent. Left, could net them a 7th-round compensatory pick. These picks are worth their weight in gold, as the success story of Brock Purdy will tell you, as the success story of Jawan Jennings will tell you. Speaking of that, Jawan Jennings had practice today. Could take a look at him working again with Brock Purdy and company. I believe, yeah, that is from Brock Purdy. Those are 2 7th-round picks connecting. This is why you don't just throw away 7th-round picks, and you try to push back the picks that you do trade away if you do have to trade them away. And to get Khalil Davis, they had to send a 7 Houston's way, but it wasn't until 2026, which meant that the 49ers didn't have to touch any of these picks right here. The 49ers right now, with a very, very loaded roster, a lot of high-priced players, Brock Purdy set to join that list of high-priced players, are not in a position to be giving up draft picks for nothing. Like, you have to make sure picks cannot be throwaways on the trade market, because picks are extremely valuable when it comes to controlling the salary cap. The 49ers, to stay under the salary cap, are going to be using large draft classes with the rookie wage scale in place. 1st-round picks make X amount. 2nd-round picks make a little bit less. 3rd-round picks make less than that. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, so on and so forth. This is not the NFL of 15 years ago, where somebody like Sam Bradford could be selected first, and then he could just completely rake a team over the coals in the negotiation process and sign a $130, $140 million deal. The most valuable deals, and that's only at the very top of the draft if you're picking there because your team wasn't very good, or you traded up. You traded a fortune to get up like the 49ers did in 2020. Those most valuable deals at the very top are only worth somewhere, I think, in the 30s to 40 millions. So and a lot of that signing bonus, and it's prorated cap hit. So even when you do bring in a potential rookie star at the very top of the draft, it's going to be cap manageable. If you're picking in the 2nd round, it's definitely going to be cap manageable. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round, it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But the moment that you start trading away these picks that are locked into those prices is the moment that you find yourself in a spot where you have to sign free agents instead. And free agents are going to be significantly more expensive with significantly less team control and less moldability, to be honest. Unless you're getting an A-list free agent, I don't think there's a guarantee that he's going to outperform a rookie, especially a rookie with some developmental time. So the 49ers, seeing how valuable picks like seventh rounders have been, fifth rounders like George Kittle have been, have said, we really don't want to trade away 2025 picks unless we really have to, because this is a team in a little bit of a financial pinch. And that strategy led them to have a high bar, to a high threshold to clear when it came to picking up players on the trade deadline this year. Was Calais Campbell a possibility? I think so. Was it from the 49ers end? I think that they were interested. Was Miami interested in trading him? Doesn't seem like it. Was Davon Godchaux a possibility from the New England Patriots? Yes, the 49ers were interested in him. Patriots probably interested in moving him at the right price, but the right price wasn't met. Instead, the 49ers found Khalil Davis, who actually I think is a significantly better pass rusher than Davon Godchaux. He's not a run-stopping specialist, though. Godchaux was somebody who was 330 pounds, who just clogs the middle with size, commands double teams. In the case of Khalil Davis, this is the type of player that is not going to be commanding as many double teams, but firing through the gap there. He just tossed aside the offensive. Well, that was an offensive guard that he was working against. So again, we've seen the bench press metrics. Those are strong, but he's not huge. He's not somebody that's going to overwhelm with his size to command double teams. He's somebody that's going to win more on speed and explosion at the line of scrimmage. So that's what the 49ers wanted. They needed throughout this entire pre-deadline process. They had a few spots of this roster that were clear areas of weakness. One of them was the defensive tackle position when it came to depth. Right now, Kevin Givens is still missing practice due to the groin injury. He missed the 49ers' most recent game against the Cowboys. So if you go here to defensive tackle, you will see Malik Collins. That's a Houston Texans trade acquisition that's already worked out well. Jordan Elliott, Kalia Davis, Evan Anderson, the recent practice squad call-up, and an injured player who's been actually delivering really efficient, productive football this year, Kevin Givens. Givens is out. That means that either Evan Anderson or Khalil Davis are going to have to immediately filter into his spot. I don't think that the 49ers, and Givens was out of practice today. They haven't ruled him out yet for Sunday. But I don't think the 49ers want Evan Anderson having to deliver the entire snap load, especially against the run featured team like the Bucs, who are number 6 in rushing EPA per play, who are missing their 2 best receivers. So they're trying to commit to the ground game. I think the 49ers are going to activate Khalil Davis right away, and he's going to be an important part of this rotation. Now, that's the move that the 49ers made on the trade front, but they've also made a couple other additions around the deadline on the signing front. Those are to the practice squad. One is Russell Gage, veteran wide receiver, who I just highlighted there in teal. This, I think, very, very important for the 49ers. We talked about them potentially going after somebody like Kendrick Bourne. But again, if you go after somebody like Kendrick Bourne, that's going to cost draft capital. It's going to cost some of this. And they decided not to go after somebody like Bourne, so they wouldn't have to dip into that well of draft capital. Instead, the 49ers get Russell Gage, who has 14 career touchdowns, has actually played for Tampa Bay in the past, Atlanta before then, and he's on the practice squad with a chance to fortify the 49ers' depth in the receiving room. Then the 49ers signed Tashawn Gibson Sr., the safety down here. Was a starting safety for this team for 2 seasons. So to be able to have him on the practice squad right now, I think is a great proposition for the 49ers. You're a little sketchy depth-wise at the positions where they added. Defensive tackle, wide receiver, and safety. Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa are both playing well right now. But George Odom is not the strongest backup safety. He did some nice stuff in training camp, but he's given up a lot in coverage. Let's be honest. George Odom is a specialist. He's a special teams guy. He's an ace in that portion of the game. So beyond him, it's either Jalen Mahoney or Adrian Amos, and that was before they signed the trusted veteran Deshaun Gibson Sr. So he's now in competition with somebody like Amos, and he's also waiting in the wings for the 49ers at a position that has not had the most solid depth. So that's a look at where they added roster-wise right now. The key is that he didn't have to use any draft picks from this next coming draft to do what they needed to do. Listen, this is already an excellent roster. There's no debate about that. There might be debates on some corners of Twitter where people are trying to be contrarians, but the same roster of core star power that has taken the 49ers so far in each of the past 3 seasons is back. These guys, and they're still playing a lot of the individual star power names. They're still playing at a really high level. Those who aren't, they're hurt right now. So, and they're also expecting to get back a significant chunk of the guys who aren't contributing at the moment due to injury. One of them being Christian McCaffrey. So, I delved into this so much up on the San Francisco Standard. We can go back to the articles right now. So this is our article on Khalil Davis and what the 49ers are doing trade-wise. But you go here, we talk about Christian McCaffrey returning. It's a look at the 49ers offense and the metrics at this halfway point. And this is a look at the defense. The 49ers are in a good efficiency position right now with a positive outlook moving forward from 4-4, given the fact that they've gained the second most yards in the league, that the defense is ranked anywhere between 6 and 12 in the advanced metrics. They're good, but they haven't been great, and they've obviously lost a couple tough games. One could say their record probably should be better, but it's not, so they have to find a way to get more juice. I think that the star power frontline juice is not going to be that hard to come by. But it's the depth for the 49ers that definitely was lacking entering this past deadline weekend. And it was the depth at the defensive tackle spot, the depth at the safety position, and the depth at wide receiver, where the 49ers had to make the most significant moves. So they added, with Khalil Davis, with Russell Gage, and with Deshaun Gibson, the latter two of those guys on the practice squad, to be able to strengthen the team as needed. Another look at practice today. Here's Christian McCaffrey working for the 49ers. Talk about the additions who are already on the 49ers roster. This absolutely has to be considered part of the boost that San Francisco is looking for. That's McCaffrey working today. Seems to be moving well on the field. Pain-free. If he continues to be pain-free, then the 49ers will activate him probably on Saturday, and he's going to play against the Tampa Bay defense that has really struggled this year. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. Wanted to talk about the additions already on the roster. I wanted to talk about the 49ers trade strategy, the real desire to maintain this stockpile of draft picks because this is so important to the team's future. I think they balanced both at this trade deadline, and they ended up with a roster that's deeper than it was prior to the deadline that happened on Tuesday. So that's what I wrote about. It's up on the San Francisco Standard. You can go check it out right there. I'm going to toss the link into the description right now. How the 49ers use the trade deadline, again, to improve their depth. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I know it's a later night show. Warriors play tonight. Warriors got something cooking this year, don't they? It was impressive, beating the defending NBA champions in Boston on the road. Comeback win in the fourth quarter after the Warriors themselves had blown a lead. So makes it all the more compelling as we track some Bay Area sports. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you all soon.